Hey everyone, it's Ionis here, and today I'm bringing you the 5.1 overview for the IonBC 2 open test. So in this one, we're going to be going over the new seamless KVM mode, as well as networked broadcasting and its toggle. I'm hoping this one won't be too long, but every time I say that, they kind of end up being a little bit long, so regardless of that, let's dive right on into it. So I have my server launched here and started with my client right and my client left successfully connected. On the server page, if we head on over to the KVM tab, you'll see the new control layout here for the seamless KVM. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to enable our seamless KVM here. This allows us to take the client controls from the client control grid and drag them into our KVM grid wherever we'd like. As long as we drop a client adjacent to the host or adjacent to another client here, it will create a pipeline between the host and those clients. This is key to the functionality of our seamless KVM, but we'll go a bit more into detail there later. First, let's move the right to the right of the host and the left to the left of the host. From there, we're going to go over our controls up here. The columns and rows slider will allow you to change the number of columns and rows. You can also resize the window if you have many columns and rows to give better visibility. For now, we're just going to set this to its default 7 and 3, and then we're going to take a look down here. So this is a pretty standard profile setup. The profiles combo box will hold all of your saved profiles, and you can switch between them dynamically. From there, the save button will allow you to save your profile, and the delete button here will allow you to delete the selected profile. So for now, let's go ahead and click our Save button here. This will open up our Save KVM profile window. We'll give it a name. Click Save. And from there, if we ever want to delete our profile, of course, we just click the Delete Profile button, which will pop up our DSTA here. We can select Yes or No. For now, we're just going to select No, and we're going to move back into the KVM grid here. So what the KVM grid allows us to do is it allows us to seamlessly control any number of clients with a single mouse and keyboard. We can do this by moving to their designated assigned screen bounds. So for example, right is all the way to the right. So if we move our mouse all the way to the right of our screen here, you'll see we're now controlling right, where we can type and click as if it were a standard machine that we were currently controlling. From there, if we move back into host and then move all the way to the left screen bounds, you can see we can perform the same actions, but on the left client there. All right, back on our host here. This also works for client-facing bounds. So if we drag our left all the way to the right of right, you can see we've now created a pipeline from host to right to left. This is going to get a little bit confusing with me naming these extra directions and moving them around, but bear with me. So if we move all the way to our host right screen bounds, you can see we're now controlling the right client. But if we move all the way to the right screen bound of the right client, you can see we're now controlling the left client. So you can set up designated networked pipelining between as many clients and the host as you want. You just need to be sure that the node is facing a screen bound in some capacity. The current screen bounds are top, right, left, and bottom. So you can really move these in any way you want. If we want the right to be on top and the left to be on bottom, we can go ahead and do that. Now if we move to the top of our screen bounds, you'll see we're in the right client. And if we move to the bottom of our screen bounds, you'll see we're in the left client. Alright, so back on our host here, we're going to fix these so they go right back into their proper slots. And then we're going to take a look at the seamless KVM's clipboard mirroring functionality as well as file transfer functionality. So if we come over here to our left client and we minimize EQ Legends, we can then minimize IonBC and we're at our desktop here. Let's say we want to transfer a file on over, and I just so happen to have this important file for left. So if we click and drag and move all the way to our left screen bounds, you can see we're now on the left client, but we also have this little icon under our cursor. If we then release anywhere on our desktop or in a file explorer, you will see the file fully transferred from our host all the way over to our left client. Now this isn't exclusive just to single files. We can move whole directories like our bin here. So let's click and drag that all the way to our left client. You can see we have the file transfer icon if we now drop it. it has successfully fully copied over the entirety of bin here. As far as clipboard mirroring is concerned, it will sync clipboards across every single connected client within the KVM, as long as sync clipboards is enabled. So if we go over to our options here, and then we go into the KVM subpage, you can see sync clipboards here. If this is enabled, then across all clients, whenever Control-C is pressed, we'll sync the clipboard across every single connected machine within the KVM grid, including the host. So for example, if we press a little print screen here on our host, and then we move all the way back over to our left client here, let's open up Paint. If we press Control-V, you can see our clipboards have synced and our print screen from the host can now be pasted over here on the left client. This also works vice versa, as explained before, so let's go ahead and open up our important file for left. We can see it's empty here. Let's give it some text. We're going to copy this text over, and then we'll move back into our host. Open our important file for left here. Press Control-V, and we can see we've copied over some text. So that's it for the standard functionality of the seamless KVM. I'm going to go ahead and log all of my clients into game, and we'll get to the networked input broadcasting. So, as you can see, I have my EQ Legends designated hotbar open here. If I click the broadcasting toggle, you can see the mouse movements are currently being broadcasted. If we go on down to Enter World and click, now that we have all of our characters loaded in here, broadcasting for network mode has the same functionality capabilities as broadcasting for the local version, where not only mouse inputs are broadcasted, but so are keyboard inputs. So we have full manual input broadcasting. And something I forgot to go over in the 5.0 update was the newly added price checker here. So let's go ahead and click this and give it a look. This price checker uses the TLP auctions API and allows you to switch between the designated servers to check the price of Chronos as well as any item you want. This is obviously just for pre-Luckland servers, as is TLP auctions, as this will be pretty much entirely replaced by the Bazaar. Let's go ahead and see how much Frost Reaver's going for. You can see it's currently on a downtrend over the past couple of days. And it looks like there's a good handful of people selling it for just 1k, which is a pretty good steal for a starter Berserker. And then of course you have some people who are selling it for 6k, which is a bit overpriced given our trending price data. There's also some nice data plots here, so you can see how the price trending has lined up over the past week. And we also have an entire filters panel here, which you can use to filter down to exactly what you're looking for. For now, I kind of want to know how much Blade of Carnage is going for, actually, so let's check that out. As you can see, Blade of Carnage is sometimes going for straight Chronos, but also going for a Chrono-Plat split. If there is a Chrono-Plat split within the data, it will reflect in the trending price data up here, and you can see exactly how many Chronos it's going for between the actual Chrono and Plat price split. As expected, most things are going to be on a downtrend for Frost Reaver, as most folks have everything they need for the Velius expansion. So Blade of Carnage is no exception to that. It looks like it's on a downward trend right now. As well, there is an API call limit to prevent anyone from actually slamming TLP auctions servers. So if we just spam our enter here, you'll see eventually we'll be locked out for 30 seconds. Alright, and that is it for the price checker. Again, apologies there, I forgot to go over that in the 5.0 containerization update overview. Hopefully this gives everybody a pretty good idea of how to use the internal price checker. Alright, so that will just about do it for the 5.1 update. There's a couple more quality of life features that I'd like to add to the KVM, but I really wanted to get this update out to everybody just so they can start playing with it. The KVM release is also the very last feature release that we're going to have before we actually enter a licensed SaaS model. If you're worried about licensing, I still have quite a bit to go for that. I have to finish the API, the entity framework design, as well as our website. I would likely post more about that in Discord, but we're going to probably stay in the open test here for at least a month or so, just to iron out any further issues, as well as allow me some time to actually get everything together and working seamlessly within our licensing API. So, if you have any questions, as always, you can reach me on Discord. And if you're interested in trying out the Ion Broadcaster open test, there will be a download link below. And as always, thank you very much, and have a great day.